Hey everybody, welcome back to SJG Perspective. Tonight's premiere video is going to, obviously I'm premiering it, and then right after this I'm going to be going live, so stick around. This video won't be that long. I think it's going to be about a 10 or so minute video, and then after this we are going to be going live with Dan Golvach. Dan Golvach has a pretty heart-wrenching story about his son who lost his life to an illegal immigrant who wasn't supposed to be here due to sanctuary city laws. You know, those laws that let it, where the states and the local authorities won't let federal authorities get rid of illegals that shouldn't be here, that have come and broke the law many times before and have overstayed their welcome or been deported and came back, and they're on the list to get deported, and sanctuary cities give them refuge or sanctuary so that the federal ICE and whatnot can't get them out of our country. So I'm going to play a couple videos here that show similar or tell similar stories to what Dan's going to share with us. But I just want everyone to stick around till the end of this premiere, and then right after this premiere, we're going to go live. I mean, not right after, a couple minutes after, we're going to go live. So I'd like everyone just to come on over and hang out. It should be a really good time. It'll be very interesting, and to get Dan's thoughts and viewpoints on different things. So without further ado, I really appreciate you guys. Remember, stick around, and we'll talk to you guys, and we'll see you guys live in just a little bit.
You have different bonds with your children. You do. My bond with her was amazing. To have her in my life, I felt honored. Sarah was, oh my gosh, she was athletic, loved soccer, loved learning, was great in school, had graduated on January 30th with a bachelor's in criminal investigations. She worked hard, full-time job, went to school full-time, and still managed to carry a 4.0 and time for family and friends. She was the most kind-hearted person. The night that Sarah was killed, she was at 33rd and L, and there's a stoplight. The light was red. She had just started to go. It had turned green when Mejia comes up over a little hill, racing another vehicle, and hits her at 70+ miles an hour. Omaha Police Department had been in contact with ICE, trying to get them to put a detainer on him. They had made several calls. They even hand-delivered fingerprints and other information to ICE directly, so there was no chance of anything getting lost in the shuffle. At no avail. The judge set the bond for vehicular homicide at $50,000 and 10%. Bonded out and never been seen since. No accountability for anything. He's on the run. $5,000, he's gone. 11 weeks after Sarah was killed, there was another illegal Honduran drunk driver that hit and killed another person. 11 weeks after this happened to Sarah in Omaha, Nebraska. This is not an isolated incident. There is never a second that goes by that, oh my God, I don't have a daughter anymore. I don't have my baby. It never gets any easier. It just doesn't.
Anytime I think of Tessa, I think happy thoughts. I remember her laugh. I remember her in her dreams. First time she got on a surfboard and stood up. She looked like a little stick, olive oil on a surfboard. You know, she's surfing in heaven, you know? She is. She's on a surfboard. So, it's the worst thing that ever happens in your life, losing a child. I just grabbed from the 16 years I had with her. The guy who killed my daughter ran into her at 70 miles an hour at a stoplight, Alfredo Ramos. After the investigation, we found out that he was here illegally. If we had done what the law says after he had his first DUI, his first felony, he wouldn't have been at that time and place, and those girls would have died.
This issue ties into a bigger picture, and the politicians have been slow to get it. We in Congress should wake up and listen to those who have been hurt by our failure to act.
And what I've read about you, you feel like I do. I have absolutely no animosity toward any particular group of people. I don't even have animosity for the guy who killed my daughter. He went to prison for 40 years. He killed 2 young girls. I'm not so sure he would have gotten that now. The executive orders, the inability to hold people past a certain point. Sanctuary cities do not feel that they must call ICE. That is what defines a sanctuary city, that they prevent the federal government from knowing the immigration status of their people.
We're not asking for anything radical. Asking for our police and sheriffs to follow the law of the land, and that's it. And if you did that, we'd avoid some of these tragic situations.
Right, which happen about once a day. I didn't really get active until I got some of the information from the police, and then I went to the trial. And after that, I thought, I'm going to be an activist. I'm at least going to get the word out about what happens and the pain that it causes if we don't have fairer immigration standards. It becomes more passionate when it's your family, it's your kid. I've met with 15 or 20 legislators. I've sat into 2 congressional hearings on immigration reform, told my story. This is the cost of not fixing the system. This is the cost.
United States was founded by immigration. People with good careers, with good jobs, educated, that gave to this country. My name is Agnes Gibney. I was born in Budapest, Hungary. When I was 2 years old when my parents left as refugees. We crossed into Yugoslavia. We were in a refugee camp for about 9 months because my mother refused to stay in Yugoslavia. They refused to allow us to go to the American embassy, to come to the United States. So we had the choice of Austria, South Africa, or Brazil. We lived in Brazil for 13 years, applied 3 times to immigrate to the United States. The 3rd time we were successful. My mother never gave up. We immigrated in November of 1970, legally. Most American people want to have security. My son Ronald went to Omani to drop off some food for his children. He had 2 boys, Matthew and Marcel. Ronald was talking on the driveway, his friend, Robert, when Ronald noticed somebody coming behind Robert and turned halfway, and that instant the guy fired. My son got shot in the arm. The bullet traveled across his chest. He ran up next driveway and banged on the door and collapsed. I was camping with my 2 daughters with Girl Scouts at Lake Paris. I just began to doze off, and about 12:30, The park ranger came shining a bright light into our tent, yelling out my name. I had an emergency. I called home and my husband said that the detective in El Monte said that Ronald had been shot in the shoulder. He's expected to survive. He's in surgery. And that wasn't the case. Drove home. My husband met me halfway in the hallway, gave me a hug, and he said, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "No," I said, "That's okay. I just went to the hospital to be with Ronald when he wake up." And I tried to walk away and he held me back and he says, "You don't understand. Ronald didn't make it. My son was murdered." Our country has been lax in enforcing immigration laws. They let thousands of people down because of open borders. People that have lost loved ones, that their lives changed forever, fighting for attention to this issue, for people like me, for people like you, for everybody. I wasn't exempt. I thought crime would never hit me. But it could happen to anybody.
On January 22nd, 1982, my best friend was born. He was so wanted. He was the love of my life. Dominic had so many qualities, it's hard to describe him, even just counting down to 5 of them. But one of his biggest qualities was his genuine love for everybody.
What do you get out of volunteering? Is it something you get individually out of each one, or is it sort of an overall global thing?
It's an overall gratification of the work that I do, the people that I get to work with. That's probably the hardest one of the day. I think I know what I want to say, I just can't say it.
Verbalize it?
I always knew Dominic would have a room here. And he still does. It became our guest room, our little office, or my little room where I do interviews from. And it has a calming effect. People sleep in it and they say, "I just slept so well." It has a good vibe, and I'll show you why.
First officer that showed up was Dominic's best friend, who he wanted to become a motorcycle cop with, and then work as a helicopter pilot. The second officer showed up and he knew Dominic. So it didn't just destroy my life, it destroyed others' lives. And the fire department showed up. They couldn't deal with it because Dominic was one of their volunteer firefighters. He was one of their family members. The DA knew the killer of my son. He had dealt with him before. He gave him deals. The judge knew the killer of my son, and they all worked together and gave him a misdemeanor without gross negligence. And he received 9 months and 5-year probation, and he served only 35 days.
This is the last card. That's where the tattoo came from this card. Thank you for all you have done and continue to do for me. Merry Christmas. Love, Dominic.
And now it is a great honor to introduce our volunteer of the year, Dominic Durden. Would you please come up? say a few words, and that's about it. No, I just like to thank, most of all, my family for all their support in my endeavors. And Green Valley Volunteer Fire Department, without you guys, I wouldn't be able to get this. Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. Dominic is everywhere.
All right, guys. Well, wow, those were very heart-wrenching stories to hear. So like I said, we have another one. This one's live with Dan Golvach, coming up here just in a couple minutes on my channel. So for all of you that stuck around, 2 thumbs up to you. Please like and share this video, and please come hang out with us here on the other side. We'll see you in just a couple minutes, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, guys. Bye.